Chapter 1297, First Ending, Mortal Domains Collapse, the Steward Demonic Emperor Whoosh. Through lightning, fire, and ash, Sword Child raced with Chu Qingchang to safety, sometimes looking back with confusion. Despite no pursuit, he never let up. The enemy had an overwhelming strength, giving them not even a glimmer of chance to survive. They trumped the father and son in brawn and brains many times over, a crushing defeat. It was an absolute miracle they even got out alive from those monsters. He now knew the meaning of avoiding at all costs. What are they doing here? Sword Child noticed Dan Shen's group and rushed over. Why are you guys here? Run quickly, or you're going to die. The other side. Sword Child asked, What's wrong with you? Miss Schwanger had set up an array and perished within it, soul and all. Dan Shun pointed at the sacred stones on the ground. Sword Child started. She perished? Why? She said she'd save Steward Joie. She turned into bright motes of light inside the array, forming the curtain of light in the sky. Everyone sighed as he pointed at the light path above. Sword Child shuddered. The path that saved Father's soul was because of her. What a save! But this is not the time for lamentation. All of you must come with me. If the Heavenly Sovereign comes after us, we're all finished. The Heavenly Sovereign? He's alive? Why else do you think I've been fleeing for my life? What about Steward Joie? It's a long story. Let's just get to safety first. Sword Child said, We need to survive to fight. We'll think of something later. Sword Child fled first with the weakened Chu Qingcheng. Dan Shun's group followed. The strange array shone behind, along with the white stream above, mesmerizing and beautiful. Big Brother Joie. A familiar voice reached Joie Fan among the stars. He opened his eyes to find light everywhere. He then noticed a figure smiling back in a white dress. Joie Fan stood up and looked pained at her translucent image. Was it Sovereign Yun's plan? Schwanger nodded with a bright smile. Joie Fan sighed. Why did you do it? He was your ancestor, but this is between ancient experts. They have their eyes on me, and I can't escape. So why must you become their pawn too? No, I wanted this. You wanted it? Joie Fan raised an eyebrow. Then he nodded. Oh, the Yun clan always put the people first. The Heavenly Sovereign just told me he wants to remake the world. Schwanger, you'd never allow all those people to suffer for it. But was it worth it? Sacrificing yourself to save a man for the good of the world? Once the world is gone, one I go as well. It's not the same. No matter the outcome, you always want to sacrifice yourself. What difference would that be to you when you won't see the world again in both cases? There is. At least I know someone will watch over it in my stead. Schwanger gave a sweet smile. Joie Fan patted her head, nodding. Schwanger, you're still the same after all this time. I promised you back in Tianyu's war that I will do all I can. I won't let your sacrifice be in vain. Joie Fan brushed past her with a bitter smile. He formed a sign and then let it go. He knew that Schwanger was now but a trace bound to fade. This was their final meeting. He would never see her again. Big Brother Joie. Joie Fan went through the starry path when Schwanger spoke again. This is as far as I can take you. Look after the world, this beautiful place. Joie Fan's heart shook. She hadn't done it solely out of Sovereign Yun's wish to save the people, but for him as well. He was the one that helped her see the world, not the people. She sacrificed herself for me. Schwang, Joie Fan shouted, but he sped up and vanished in the distance with the star path. Behind him, a holy figure floated with a faint smile. I thought I had a big heart, only caring about the safety of the world, and I still thought the same up until the moment I carried out Ancestor Yun's mission. Only to now realize that I was selfish, my heart unable to hold more than one single person. Schwanger faded as she watched Joie Fan go. Sister Chu Chu was right. We're all frail, unable to see the world. Only one man. Goodbye, Big Brother. Whoosh, the holy light burst, and a prismatic light rose up high above, mystical and majestic. Ha! Sword Heart shot out of nowhere and seized it in his hand. Sword Heart looked at the bright stars with a nod. We now have Sovereign Yun's path. Joie Fan, just how many aces do you have? The outcome is already decided. Sword Heart vanished. In a study on the mortal domain, Wu Randong leaned back in his chair with a big grin. Ever since Sword Star Empire fell, he had been free of struggles, only needing to handle some business matters. His only mission remaining was to wait for Zhuo Fan's signal. Ha! A sudden explosion startled him and turned around. A hung jade plaque broke into 5 pieces and fell. The book fell from his hands, and Wu Randong roared, "Guard! What is it, master? What are your orders?" The guard bowed, baffled. Wu Randong took a deep breath to calm down. "Let all the land's array grandmasters assemble to start the array." "Yes." The guard left, and Wu Randong went to the 5 pieces to trace them with worry. Palace Lord said to start the large array when the soul plaque broke. He must have been in big trouble to use this last move. "Palace Lord, may you be safe." Wu Randong's hand tightened. 3 days later, in Sword Star Empire's Thunder Pavilion, 24 array grandmasters gathered, all 11th grade and up. Wu Randong rushed over, seeing Wu Qingqiu having come with Shangguan Qingyan and the other big names of the mortal domain. "Sir Wu, did something happen to Zhuo Fan? Is Devil Palace on the move?" Wu Qingqiu asked, with Shangguan Qingyan nodding. "Zhuo Fan and Dad are in the sacred domain. Did something bad happen?" "I don't know either." Wu Randong shook his head. The Palace Lord only left a soul plaque behind with a trace of his soul. He said that the moment he made it break, the matter was dire. "We need to activate the recoil array at once. We will know what exactly happened after we activate it. We'll ask the Palace Lord himself." Shangguan Qingyan and the others nodded, filled with worry. Wu Randong looked at the sky and roared, "It's noon. Time to activate the array." The 24 array grandmasters made their signs and correlated with the other array masters at the whirlwind tunnels around the domain to activate the arrays. A huge ripple flashed before a beam shot from the Thunder Pavilion into the heavens. The other 7 whirlwind tunnels shot their own beams as well. The Steward Demonic Emperor. Chapter 1298, First Ending, Sacred Beasts Escape. The Steward Demonic Emperor rumble, everything was shaking, with the huge pillars of light acting as weapons as they broke the heavens. In the Mirror Moon Cottage, the Heavenly Sovereign was meditating in peace when he shook awake. Sword Heart asked, "What is it?" "The mortal domain is stirring. This is bad." "The mortal domain?" Sword Heart asked. "Are those 3 beasts itching? A pity the 5 sacred weapons are in the sacred domain, or I would have gone back to set them straight." The Heavenly Sovereign shook his head. "It's not them. They'd never act without knowing my true situation. Just like before, an array has been activated." "Someone's coming to sacred domain again?" "No." Heavenly Sovereign smiled in disdain. Zhuo Fan must have done something. He didn't trust those beasts when he came to sacred domain. So now he knows the truth and needs support. For that, he will get the help of those beasts. Sword Heart nodded. "Should I stop them?" "The ruination of the mortal domain means destroying the source of your power." "No. With the emotion path with me, the bewitching doesn't need the mortal domain's power to be suppressed. I need to absorb the emotion path to get rid of it. The mortal domain has outlived its use, and the Heavenly Sovereign's eye shone. By going to the mortal domain, those 3 beasts will notice I'm in trouble and will come killing. What matters is that I absorb the paths and can't be disturbed. Just watch over me. They won't stir up any trouble anytime soon." Sword Heart nodded and bowed. The Heavenly Sovereign closed his eyes again. Boom! As the shaking grew stronger, black cracks spread across the sky. Shangguan Qingyan was shaking in worry. "What kind of array did Zhuo Fan tell you to activate? Why does it look different from the one he used? It's hundreds of times stronger. The world is about to be destroyed." "I don't know either. The Palace Lord only told me how to activate it." Wu Randong was clueless, but determined. "Don't worry, Palace Lord won't harm us. Once the array finishes, we could just look for him." Shangguan Qingyan nodded. Despite the huge changes, they still went with it because they trusted Zhuo Fan. He always did something for a reason. The 3 sacred beasts noticed the sudden changes. In the All-Beast Mountain Range, Kunpeng looked at the 8 pillars of light. He met Heavenly Sovereign, and all the suspicion he had on us was removed, needing our help. After years of planning, We're about to act. It all comes down who the final winner is. Ha! Spiritual beasts of all Beast Mountain Range. I, vaulting Kuanpung, am leaving to fight for the world's survival. Kuanpung spread his arms and roared. The shivering spiritual beasts lowered their heads before him. In the ultimate clarity sect, decimating dragon ancestor looked excited as well. Is the mortal domain finally breaking? But then he recalled Zhuo Fan's last trick and slumped back. Humph, getting thrilled for nothing. Those humans are nothing but ungrateful bastards, caring only about themselves and leaving me here in misery. I won't fall for it a second time and get disappointed. Maybe I should raise another human to activate this array completely? But after all these years, not one human I found is useful. Zhuo Fan read him like a book and told Wu Qingxiu to make this place forbidden. He would not see even a ghost waltzing about. When he took Yilin, he at least had a choice, but that was now gone as well. If he'd known, he'd have slapped Zhuo Fan to death. I'm here using all I have to help you, and you're burying me instead? What gives? Is this a game to you? Zhuo Fan wasn't to blame, though, since they weren't kin. He needed to know the savage beast's intentions first. What would he do if the beast would have run amok the minute they got out? In the North Sea, heaven sealing CAO sent huge waves as he came out to look at the sky. CAO's lone eye blinked, sneering. Another human wants to go to sacred domain? The kid had to go either way, or he'd be just waiting for the big guys to come take his life. As for the others, they must be bored to death. The sacred domain has many powers. You're a lord here, but an ant up there. Ha ha ha. So go and die to your heart's content. CAO sunk back beneath the icy waters. Boom! The heavens shifted as the 8 pillars grew stronger with the array grandmasters shifting their gestures. The other 7 world wind tunnels turned into 7 meteors and converged on Thunder Pavilion. The power of the pillars united, and the pillar from the Thunder Pavilion exploded in size and power. The heavens couldn't take the pressure and broke apart, revealing a large pitch-black abyss, with cracks extending in all directions as pieces crumbled. All of the heavens were peeled away like an egg. The pillar kept expanding, forcing Shangwan, Qingyan's group back. The pillar grew so fast it enveloped them, and the sky boomed once more. Once everything settled, the people looked up in shock. The sky was now all black, an abyss without survival. What have we done? The sky is gone. Shangwan Qingyan gasped. Wu Randong was just as shocked. Why is it like this? Just what was that array of the palace lord? Look there. The sky is back. They all looked to see the sky healing and become its usual blue self. CAO was dumbstruck, with his lone eye flashing in immense joy. The mortal domain barrier is gone at last. The heavenly sovereign's realm is broken. I can see the real sky, the sacred domains, ha ha ha. With a boom, CAO slapped with his claws and shot into the sky, breaking the North Sea's barrier and reaching. His huge body shifted and became a pudgy old man, flying around like a child. The recoil array broke the heavenly sovereign's barrier and made a space tunnel. But due to the world's laws, it will heal. Once it does, the mortal domain and sacred domain will be one. This place is no longer the mortal domain. A vaulting Kunping shot up as well. Decimating dragon ancestor was stumped, then exploded in joy as he turned into a golden fiery dragon that circled the area before withdrawing all the flames to turn into a middle-aged man in golden robes. I'm out at last. Rotten brat. I'll get you for toying with me. Mark my words. Humph. Whoosh, dragon ancestor vanished. The 3 sacred beasts were freed from their prison, now looking for Zhuo Fan. The people of the mortal domain were baffled by the changed sky, but then they noticed the thick spiritual energy flooding everywhere. They sucked in without qualms, and their yuan qi soared to new heights. What's happening? I'm advancing. So am I. Me too. With the broken barrier, the people of the mortal domain grew excited, tasting the thick spiritual energy of the sacred domain. In just a few moments, all of the mortal domain's cultivators advanced again and again. The fresh, radiant cultivators of yesterday were now in the ethereal stage, making it feel like it was all a dream. They didn't realize that this was what they should have had, for they had been restricted for ages. The Steward, Demonic Emperor. Chapter 1299. First ending. He's dead, the Steward, Demonic Emperor, who the thick spiritual energy flooded the surroundings of the mortal domain cultivators, making them sit down on the spot to cultivate at this incredible opportunity. A month later, Wu Qingxiu and the others ignored everything as they cultivated at the Thunder Pavilion. They opened their eyes to find themselves stronger than the invincible sword of before. What did the array do? Everyone looked around with joy. Wu Qingxiu crying, "This doesn't feel like our home, like our entire world changed." Zhuo Fan had been obsessed with it for a century, but what did it do? It's incredible. Wu Randong stood up, looking grave. The palace lord said that this array will connect two worlds, that they would combine at its activation. All this incredible spiritual energy we're enjoying comes from the other side. The place with the Devil Mountain, Zhuo Fan mentioned? Yes. Wu Randong was grave. Wu Qingxiu nodded with an excited look. This is why Devil Mountain's disciples were all-powerful. They had the best conditions. It's all thanks to Zhuo Fan that we get to enjoy the same treatment when he combines the two worlds. Wu Randong wasn't happy at all. I don't know for certain, but there has to be a good reason why the palace lord had us wait for the very last moment until he gave us the signal to activate the array. The two worlds might be one now, but we better go find the palace lord to help him out. Right? We first had to find him. But Wu Qingxiu frowned. Where do we start? Where do we go? Wu Randong considered. I had the disciples of the five lands spread out. With the worlds combining, there have to be common points that should show us the way. I hope so. Wu Qingxiu sighed. By the time we find the limit of that world, Brother Zhuo might be gone. A blue figure flew high in the sky, going at incredible speed. An angry shout came. Damn coot, traitor, stop right there. Whoosh, a golden flame startled the man in blue. Looking back, he threw an azure fire at the golden flame. Boom! The clash resulted in a grand explosion of flames. The mighty power shook the heavens and broke the earth. The skies sported black holes for thousands of miles. Even peak saints weren't capable of such destruction. Whoosh, the two separated from the clash. What are you doing, you crazy old man? Kuanpeng cursed Dragon Ancestor. I've yet to pay you back from before. What did I do to you? Pay me what? For treason. Dragon Ancestor gnashed his teeth. If not for you selling Thunder Phoenix out, we wouldn't have been stuck in the mortal domain for so long. With all our powers, humph, combine our strengths? You think that's enough against the Heavenly Sovereign? Kuanping cut him off with a sneer. Ignorant fool. You have no idea how bad things were last time. You're only standing here whining, you big worm, because of Thunder Phoenix and my faking weakness trick. Dragon Ancestor blinked. Trick? What? That is what Thunder Phoenix did willingly. I never sold anyone out. Dragon Ancestor shook, baffled. What? Is he insane? Giving himself over to the Heavenly Sovereign? He wasn't insane, but upright. To save everyone, his sacrifice was worth it. What the hell do you know? Kuanpeng glared and sighed. Dragon Ancestor was utterly confused, his rage gone. A cold aura came over that snuffed out the remaining flames around. The two cried out, "CAO, you're out." Ha ha ha, I am. I got tired of wandering the same North Sea. Now that the Heavenly Sovereign's barrier is gone, I'm free to stretch my legs. Don't mind me. Duke it out. The space warped and a one-eyed old man appeared with a grin. Kuanpeng sighed. Old dragon, CAO, allow me to explain what happened while we go find Zhuo Fan. He had the mortal domain removed because he believed us. He must have met with the Heavenly Sovereign. We must save him before the Heavenly Sovereign kills him, and all our suffering will be for naught. Kuanpeng flew away. TCH, what's suffering? Hiding on a mountain while we were stuck in our prison. Dragon Ancestor huffed, but still chose to follow. They had a common enemy, and he took precedence over any betrayal. CAO shrugged as he joined them. They flew for 3 days and arrived at the limit of the mortal domain with the sacred domain. They entered the new world, and Kuanpeng shrieked while Dragon Ancestor roared. Whoosh, birds flew over, and dragons growled as they came in joy. Greetings, Sir Kuanpeng. Greetings, dragon ancestor. What about me? Cao felt sour being left out. Kuanpung snickered. Cao, don't mind it. This isn't the sea, so they aren't your people. Right, then let's go to the sea. Would Fan go there, though? Decimating dragon ancestor glanced at the spiritual beasts and dragons. Listen up. We're looking for a human called Fan. Find him. One dragon hesitated. Ancestor, is he the same Fan the Luo clan have as steward? He was a steward of a tiny clan in mortal domain. He looked to enjoy his spot, too. Kuanping nodded. Do you know where he is? The dragon bowed. Ancestor, sir, steward was said he's your representative and worked with us to attack the sacred mountains. Oh, the punk knew to steal authority. First he let us rot, then he used our name? Preposterous. Dragon ancestor raged. Where is that punk? I'll string him up and chop him to pieces. SSS, the dragon started. He isn't ancestor's representative? Curses, he played us. He had 2 sacred beasts, and one calling himself ancestor's inheritor, so we believed him. We even let them go to dragonizing pool. We'll go right away and execute those liars. What liars? You can't tell sacred beasts' aura from fakes. That inheritor is also an old dragon's disciple. Kuanping glanced at dragon ancestor. Dragon ancestor nodded. It must be Yilin. They are indeed under me. I was just being angry, but that doesn't mean you could just go wild on them. Try to keep your heads on your shoulders. Right? The dragon flinched and tensed. I never knew ancestor likes to joke around. He almost scared me. Thank God I didn't try anything with them. You still haven't said where Fan is. Take us there. Yes, just the dragon hesitated. What now? I can only take you to the Luo clan, because we can't find Steward Zhua. Why? Because he's dead. What? The sacred beast cried out, with Kuanping slumping. It's all over. Our efforts are for nothing. The Steward Demonic Emperor. Chapter 1300, First Ending. Uncrowned Sovereign. The Steward Demonic Emperor. Father. Elder brother. The Luo clan's leadership gathered in the main hall of their city and discussed. The sudden shouts had them looking towards the doors, now burst open by Gu Santong, Qiaoer, and Yilin. Their auras clearly placed them at the saint stage. Ouyang Chongqing lit up. Yilin, you've been enjoying yourself with the dragons by the looks of it. Ought to take a trip to the dragonizing pool as well. Get back. Yilin, push him away, rushing to Luo Yunhai. Clan head, where's my elder brother? Why do all the dragons say that he's dead? Luo Yunhai sighed and patted his shoulder. Big brother Zhua has a glimmer of hope, but Shuanger and Misu, they passed on to save Dad. Sword Child stepped up with a grave look. They leaned on a sovereign's path for a power boost and wrested Dad's weak soul from the heavenly sovereign. They, however, couldn't withstand a sovereign path's power and crumbled, soul and all. Yilin shook and sighed. Qiaoer cried, recalling the good times she had with Bali Yuyu. The closest to her were Bailey Jingtian and Bailey Yulei. The 3 had gone with Fan to the sacred domain once their clan fell, but now one of them was no more. Bali Yulei saw her as his little sister, while Bailey Jingtian felt the pain of losing his relative. They had no hatred among the sadness, for this was Bali Yuyu's choice. Thunder Sword King, our revenge for Fan is no longer important. Bailey Jingtian said, Frigid Rain Sword King is gone, and I feel a piece of me missing. We need to live in a moment and have no regrets. Bailey Yulei nodded heavily. I don't know if Fan's sovereign path had something to do with it when he entered the Emperor's stage, but my eyes have opened up. I had spent a century obsessed with killing him, but forgetting all the people around me, my father, you. My hatred didn't change even as the Empire fell. Now that Frigid Rain Sword King is gone, I have come to see that while hatred blinded me those 100 years, I failed to realize how many things I lost. Thunder Sword King, let's go home. I want to live my life in peace along with my father. His Majesty is at Drifting Flower City. Bailey Yulei said, we will find him there. Bailey Jingtian started, how do you know? Fan told me. Bailey Yulei muttered, he knew your desire, but since you helped him, he looked after your family regardless of your intentions. His Majesty hasn't become a prisoner, but is living safely in Tianyu. It was there where Fan lived his quietest moments. He hoped that the past emperor would find peace as well. Bailey Jingtian felt ashamed. He did all this while I almost left father to be forgotten. That's why Fan thinks of everything. He has his own path that brings people together, which makes up his power. Bailey Yulei smiled. Let's wait for Steward Zhuo's return. We'll help him in this fight, and then go see his majesty. What do you say? Bailey Jingtian closed his eyes and nodded through tears. Get lost. Yilin was furious as he stormed outside. Who's shouting in the Luo clan? I am one of it. A middle-aged man in golden robes stood tall and majestic alongside two others. Gu Santong and Xiao knew them on the spot. Yilin was human and didn't know of dragon ancestors' human form, cursing instead. You got some nerve. Who are you to run wild in the Luo clan? Oh, you got to spread your wings, brat. And now you're teaching me? Dragon ancestor started, smiling at his disciple. Gu Santong and Xiao pulled Yilin back. Are you mental? To dare to go after the three monsters? Kunpeng didn't care, looking around. The most pressing matter was to find Fan. The dragon saints came as well, and immediately kneeled. Ancestor, you're all right. We couldn't be more gratified to find you once more with us. Why your master? Yilin cried out. Dragon ancestor glared. Brat, I'll deal with you later. Where's Fan? Come out already. You can't be dead. Ancestor, a few days ago, the dragon sovereign was butchered by 8 people. You have to set this right and get revenge for him. The old dragons lamented. Dragon ancestor waved their whining away. Since he's dead, that's that. Just go pick other dragons with some talent. Fan is more important right now. Is he dead or not? Ugh. The dragon saints were stumped. They rushed here the minute they heard their ancestor was back, hoping to get support. Only the ancestor cared not for them, wanting to know more about some human's life instead. Fan must be ancestor's aid for sure. So they changed tactics. Ancestor, taking revenge for the dragon sovereign, or Steward Zhuo, is the same, because the same man killed them both. He's really dead? Dragon ancestor turned to Kunpeng. What now? The kid is dead, and the sky will fall. Kunpeng shouted. Listen well. The fate of the world rests on Fan. Tell me exactly if he is dead or not. Did you see it happen? Seniors, this is what happened. Swordchild came forward and retold the events. The 3 seniors eased up. I see. That's why there's a glimmer of hope. How fortunate. Old man, he's but a ruined soul now, with his strength robbed. It can't get worse than this. What hope are you talking about? Dragon ancestor asked. You all right there? What can a cripple do? Cripple? Humph. You'd never say that if you knew who he is. Dragon ancestor raised an eyebrow. Isn't he a pawn in your schemes? Or is he some sovereign's reincarnation? Kunpeng said, pretty much. Old dragon. Remember the uncrowned sovereign? Dragon ancestor gasped. The heavenly sovereign's younger brother. The one who with the heavenly sovereign was called Heavenly Daos Exalted. That's Fan? Why is he on the demonic path? Isn't the goal of all sovereigns the supreme stage? Kunpeng's eyes shone. Heaven sealing CAO and dragon ancestor thought. The union of 10 paths, the supreme stage. Was such a legend true? Senior, could you... The trio chatted back and forth. When Luo Yunhai finally came forward with a smile and a bow. Kunpeng said, we're 3 sacred beasts, vaulting Kunpeng, decimating dragon ancestor, and heaven-sealing CAO. We guided Fan once, and came to see what happened to him. Sacred beasts? The same ones that can fight sovereigns? Luo Yunhai and everyone cheered. With sirs, we can beat the 2 enemies. Kunpeng's face twitched. When? One of them is the heavenly sovereign, who fought all the others by himself. Us 3 are nothing. Stop dreaming. Our only hope rests with Fan. But Fan is only a broken soul. How can he? Dragon ancestor shook his head. Kunpeng sneered. Didn't Sovereign Yin take the same ruined soul with the star path? By my reckoning, he must be at the heavenly rebirth lake. There he will regain everything, including the ancient power closest to the heavenly sovereign, the steward demonic emperor. Chapter 1301, Heavenly Rebirth Lake. The steward demonic emperor whoosh. On a clear night, a falling star crossed the skies and fell in a bush. Once the light faded, it revealed a hazy human shape, where Zhuofan looked around at the vegetation and quiet scenery. It felt like paradise, with not a trace of dirt marring its beauty. In the center of the meadow was a clear lake. The perfect surface instilled peace in him. Zhuofan crouched and touched the water. A ripple spread through the clear lake, and two people were reflected back. One of them was a young master in white robes, eminent and elegant. The other was cruel in his features. As they played chess, they all had calm gazes, having already known how this game would end. He knew who this was, the heavenly sovereign. Zhuofan gasped, "What is this place? The lake can monitor the heavenly sovereign, and he can't sense it? What is going on?" The sovereigns have sharp senses. They're connected to the world and will sense anyone looking at them. "Little brother, you lose again." The heavenly sovereign's reflection placed one last piece and declared to the other, "This is your 99th round without a single win. Isn't this enough?" "Younger brother? Did the heavenly sovereign have a younger brother? Didn't he call me like that as well? How come there's another? Or does he indulge in calling everyone that? You call yourself a brother when you're killing the other with your bare hands?" Zhuofan watched on. The man in white smirked, shaking his hand. "I accept my meager skill and defeat." "Huh? What meager? Reaching my stage and playing chess is a matter of skill." The heavenly sovereign stood up. "I play for the world, for the cosmos, enacting my path. We both comprehend the heavenly Taos, and I have reached the sovereign stage with it. Another 8 have achieved their path as well. As the heavenly Taos sovereign, I'll be honest. I can feel the world's laws, and there can only be 10 sovereigns. When will you achieve your path and take the last spot?" The man in white said, "When it comes, it comes." When it comes. Your path is corrupted from all the emotions and will never succeed. To achieve your path, you need to be like me and cast out all interferences." "Oh, elder brother, you're too dogmatic." The man in white stood with a smile. 9 serenities and the others have achieved their path despite all emotions, haven't they? The sovereign stage has nothing to do with your emotions. Enough of your fake smiles. The heavenly sovereign glared and held his head high. Heaven is supreme while the earth is below. The heavenly Taos are ultimate. We comprehend the heavenly Taos and must be heartless. All the others comprehended human paths. Humans live on the ground beneath the heavenly Taos. The difficulty is like heaven and earth. We are chosen by the world to grasp the heavenly Taos. Don't talk to me about those lowly sovereigns." The man in white was solemn. "Elder brother's void path is mighty, but you mustn't deny the others' paths. If the world were heartless, why would it contain all in creation? This proves it's the people that do not understand the world's love and emotions. The heavenly Taos are not heartless, for that wouldn't be the heavenly Taos. Contain all creation? In your dreams." The heavenly sovereign mocked. "First comes the world, and then everything else. The world is everlasting, while everything else isn't. That means the world will always be here, operating by its own laws, while the beings within are merely props on stage. All beings depend on the world, while it is independent. The world is heartless, so stop trying to mingle the heavenly Taos with humanity. This is why you're stuck in reaching your path." The man in white stiffened. "And what if heaven has emotion?" "Impossible. I'm saying if. Heaven with emotion means degeneracy. A world with emotions makes it no different from everything mundane and secular, unable to last forever." The heavenly sovereign spoke with conviction. "One last reminder, there's only one sovereign spot left. Better hurry up." The heavenly sovereign left in a huff. The man in white hesitated. Zhuofan frowned. "The heavenly sovereign is my nemesis, but he has a point. The world is heartless. Choosing the heavenly Taos, yet still sticking to emotions will only drag you down. But there's someone with the hope of becoming sovereign still around." to be regarded by the heavenly sovereign too. Speaking of, is the little brother kin or is he a stepbrother? It has to be kin. If he started saying younger brother left, and right like he did with me, he'd have been sucked dry by now. Zhuo Fan shook his head. What were they hinting at? What a strange way of talking. What do you mean one spot left? Haven't all the spots been taken? You also believe the heavenly sovereign's words. An aged voice came from behind. Zhuo Fan flinched and saw a man covered in black with a gray beard approaching. Zhuo Fan bowed at once, figuring the guy had to be some mighty expert coming in this mystery place. The old man patted his shoulder to stop him, crouching by his side. Youngster, there's no need for that. We're all mere soul remnants that could vanish any day now. What does courtesy do for us at this point? Let's just see what the heavenly sovereign is up to, since that's the only thing we could do, Senior, you have a broad perspective, ha ha ha. Zhuo Fan's face twitched, sitting by the lake and watching on while his mind was abuzz. Who is this guy? He's quite chatty too. He'd rather watch someone else's drama than look after his vanishing soul. I guess all dying people are chatty. Oh, where am I anyway? Why can I see the heavenly sovereign's matters? Zhuo Fan cupped his hands. Senior, what is this place? Why is the heavenly sovereign's family drama conveyed? You don't know? The man blinked. Zhuo Fan shrugged. I just got here without knowing. A friend brought me. Oh, I see. You must have some great fortune. This is not a place where anyone can just waltz in. Just by coming here, you have a high chance of being reborn, so long as you let go of one thing. What? Your memories, emotions, and everything else, the old man's eyes shone. This is the heavenly rebirth lake, offering hope for all broken souls that they might be reborn. Any and all that succeeded left behind everything so that they could go on, broken souls included. The heavenly rebirth lake. Zhuo Fan looked around the quiet place, shouting, the rebirth sovereign's seat of enlightenment? Are you him, Senior? Ha ha ha, wrong. I'm just another broken soul. The old man smiled. The rebirth sovereign doesn't usually come here. All broken souls with deep feelings can leave the past and everything behind to be reborn. No sovereign intervention required. It is our fortune. Zhuo Fan turned to the giddy old man staring at the lake. Since that's all it takes, what are you still doing here? You also mentioned vanishing. Can't you be reborn? Did you not hear me? Rebirthing comes with a condition, to leave everything behind. Some things are more important than my life, and I would rather vanish than be reborn. Zhuo Fan gave him a long look. Zhuo Fan's heart stirred, cupping his hands. People would rather be destroyed from this world than ever let go of some memories. Few were those that held something else more precious than their lives. Few are still those he met, worthy of respect. Zhuo Fan rose from his gesture, and the old man showed a nasty grin. Besides, getting to see people's drama is quite fun, better than the mundane world. Hey, plop. Zhuo Fan almost fell in the lake, his face twitching. Curses, it's all because he's dying for gossip. Here I was thinking you're worthy of respect. Ugh, my poor heart. The Steward Demonic Emperor. Chapter 1302. Previous Life. The Steward Demonic Emperor. Look, something's coming up. Don't miss it. The old man waved in excitement, looking like some perv peeking at the girl's showers with his wretched grin. Zhuo Fan rolled his eyes, though he paid attention. Knowledge was power. Regardless of how he would face this powerful enemy, the more he learned, the better. Zhuo Fan's eyes widened as he stared at the lake. That man in white again? Are these his memories? The old man nodded. As the heavenly sovereign's younger brother who formed a sovereign path, he should be a half-sovereign. Even he would choose to be reborn? Just how cruel was that ancient war? He could imagine why this great younger brother died. A situation in which not even the heavenly sovereign could protect him had to be the Great War. Zhuo Fan watched the man in white in a cave having lonely eyes. A familiar voice was heard. Must you do this? That voice, Zhuo Fan shuddered. The Nether Sovereign? He's involved? The old man grinned. In the water, the man in white hesitated, but his voice was firm. I can't refute Elder Brother's words. He might be right. The heavenly Daos are heartless while mine is too emotional, preventing me from reaching the sovereign stage. While both of you comprehended the heavenly Daos, He did it through the heartless void path. As for you, the emotional heavenly Taos. Talking of previous and current heaven is the same, regardless of right and wrong. The comprehension is of different aspects. If you must insist on separating them, his heavenly Taos were before humanity, while yours is after it. From how I see it, your heavenly Taos is more fitting with humanity to reach the supreme Tao stage above the sovereign stage. The Nether Sovereign spoke. The man in white sighed. Why mention that when I can't even reach the sovereign stage? Nether Sovereign, did you do what I asked? I did. The Nether Sovereign sighed, and with a wave, a black sculpture of a woman appeared. This is made of the Nether Sea's crystal formed for 10,000 years from millions of lost souls' grievances. As your emotions are tied to the heavenly Taos, these grievances are too few to seal it. The man in white nodded. Thank you. He made a sign. Wait. The Nether Sovereign spoke up, drawing the man in white's attention. The heavenly sovereign is your elder brother, and ever since he reached the sovereign stage with the void path, we all know his character. By sealing all your emotions in this sculpture, won't that ascertain our stance with each other? The man in white sighed. Time will tell. He made the sign again, and the space shook. A multicolored light flew out of him and into the sculpture. 5 colors. Joie Fan gasped. Brothers indeed, with the sovereign path having 7 colors, he reached 5 already. He's not just a half-sovereign, but a mere step from the sovereign stage. But why didn't he become the 10th sovereign in the end? He forsook all emotions from the heavenly Taos. The old man shook his head. The man in white turned stiff and cold after that, looking at the Nether Sovereign with icy eyes. Thanks. So our friendship ends here. The Nether Sovereign sighed and left. The man in white was now void of any emotion, removing all semblance of his humanity, so that he could now cultivate the heartless heavenly Taos. 3 months later, he still couldn't reach the sovereign stage. He had great talent, yet he still couldn't do it. In his greatest confusion, his heart stirred, restless for him to do something. So he followed his heart and left cultivation, returning to where he sealed his emotions, in that cave. You're back. A soft voice reached him as an incredible woman stood at the entrance of the cave with a big smile. The man in white shuddered. Joie Fan gasped. Isn't that the sealed sculpture? Why is it human? The man in white thought the same, his heart frantic. What trick did the Nether Sovereign pull? Didn't he say that the woman's sculpture is a vessel? Why is it human? Was it made after her? The woman walked over and explained everything, while he had no intention of pushing her away. This sculpture was filled with regrets and sorrows, but when he poured all his heavenly Taos cultivation inside, it nurtured true emotion. The seal couldn't contain it either, resolving all the negative emotions and turning them into pure emotions. But what was this item with emotion? Human or demon? She could speak and had the white man's emotions as her foundation. He was the first to sense her life, while the woman kept staying by his side. He couldn't tolerate this as he cultivated the heartless heavenly Taos now, breaking away from all emotions. However, the emotions that the woman had came from him. He couldn't find it in himself to drive the woman away. It was like they were always connected. One thing led to another, and the man in white got used to her as the days passed, becoming her master. Due to his cultivation residing within her, she was fast in cultivating. But she was not human, just a spirit formed from emotions. After a few years, she reached saint stage. The man's heartless heavenly Taos were now tainted with feelings of love for the woman. The woman also loved him beyond measure. They were a match made in heaven, leading to the re-establishment his old friendship with the Nether Sovereign and the others as well. The Nether Sovereign showed a bright smile. The Nether Sovereign is so vile. Joie Fan clicked his tongue. Did he plan for the woman to stir his heart? Wasn't she but a sealed vessel from the start? Why not just make a box? The old man smirked. Isn't it great the young man recovered? Recovered. He was supposed to reach the sovereign stage, but didn't the Nether Sovereign delay him? Joie Fan sneered. Now I know why he was never among the 10 sovereigns, haha. The old man shook his head. He didn't reach it because his path had regret, not because his path was wrong. After cutting himself of all emotions, wasn't he stuck all the same? Kid, don't you have anyone you love? I do. What will you pick, her or the sovereign stage? Fan smiled. Her. Why? I go where my heart is. Fan nodded at the man in white in the reflection. By clashing with your heart, you're blocking any chance at reaching the sovereign stage. The heavenly sovereign's younger brother only strayed further when he abandoned all emotion. The old man nodded. You do understand. Yeah, and I seem to be in the same situation as him. Huh? Forget her. A cold tone had Fan jumping in fright. He looked back to see the heavenly sovereign's icy face staring at the man in white. I thought you'd be a sovereign when I came out of seclusion, but not only do you still have emotion, you even have a woman. How can you grasp the heavenly Taos? The man in white rebutted. It doesn't matter. With elder brother, shocking the world is enough. I don't need to be a sovereign as well. I don't care about you or the glory of my clan. I am me, the heavenly sovereign, wielder of the void path. The heavenly sovereign's tone was ever cold. I urged you to be a sovereign out of instinct. Just like rearing a pet. Humans say animals have feelings, but are they as complex? Everything follows the heavenly Taos, reproducing. I am the same. As my younger brother, I hope we'd grasp the heavenly Taos together and grow beyond human condition instead of making me take pity on you. The man in white raised an eyebrow. Pity? Elder brother, I thought you're heartless. Yes, pity is speaking too highly. What I mean is not to make me despise you like every other bug. The heavenly sovereign's eyes shone with bloodthirst. If you don't want to cut them off, I'll kill that woman for you. The steward, demonic emperor. Chapter 1303. Decaying heavenly Tao. The steward, demonic emperor, the quiet lake reflected the ancient heavenly sovereign's cold gaze. Fan sighed. The heavenly sovereign must be a bachelor, unable to accept others getting together. He's even budding in his younger brother's happiness. And he calls himself heartless. This is jealousy at play, and it's obvious. That's not heartless, but bitter. Ha ha ha, you're wrong there. The heavenly sovereign has the void path, a heart that can never be infected by anything. He's only following his Tao heart of heaven being supreme and earth below. He believes that his younger brother should follow his footsteps. Any deviation from this is seen as an obstacle that needs to be removed. The old man smirked. Let's leave the chatter and keep watching. Fan nodded and returned to the lake. The man in white was in the same cave. He sealed his emotions along with two people. The mood was heavy. The man in white looked at the woman with coldness. We are through, finished. What? The woman's eyes shook. The man in white said, I want to reach the sovereign stage, and you're in the way. The heavenly Taos are heartless, and I don't want to have anything to do with you. You think it's that easy? I'm born of your true feelings. I can sense what your heart is feeling. I know you do. That's why I came to cut it off in person. The man in white took a deep breath. Before her shocked eyes, he shook and a five-colored glow flew out. Fan cried out. An incomplete sovereign path. The glow exploded and scattered, leaving behind a faint mist. The man in white spewed blood, his face pale. His eyes grew dim like a walking corpse. He then left the woman behind, taking on an aura of death and solitude that decayed the forest he was around. The grass and trees, birds and insects all died. There was no life around. The woman teared up, her lips trembling. How ruthless! Teardrops traced down as she clenched her fists. You went as far as removing the core of your emotions just to get rid of me. But didn't you say it's for forming a sovereign path? By removing the core of your emotions, you're no longer human. How can you attain sovereignty now? The man in white dragged his weary figure out of the cave, never sparing her a glance. Fan's heart was filled with sadness. Senior, what's this core of emotions? Why can't you attain your path by cutting it out? Every human is born with it, a part of them. The old man looked despondent. Humans have three relationships: loyalty, filial piety, and siblinghood. Then also 5 virtues: benevolence, wisdom, courtesy, honesty, and trust. These stand at the core of the human condition. They serve as a foundation for cultivators to gain enlightenment, the basics of their humanity, the human path. But those aren't important, for humans have emotions at their core. It's something no other creature, not even spiritual beasts, possesses. Regardless of good and evil, human cultivators can't ever escape their emotions. Even demonic cultivators, they learn through the hate, regret, jealousy, and envy. While the heavenly sovereign, he became empty, removing his emotional center to become heartless. When one removes even that, they can't even be called heartless or emotionless. But he just ripped it out of himself, just like a eunuch without his bits. It's impossible for him to achieve his path. For achieving a path means understanding it to perfection. How could he do that when he is incomplete? The heavenly sovereign would have long done this if that was all it took to do it too. Fan nodded, looking at the lone and proud figure with a sigh. He knew it was hard to remove his love completely, so he came to this cruel solution in removing his emotion center, just so the heavenly sovereign wouldn't touch her. It's clearly out of supreme emotion that he chose to be dead inside. This makes it even more emotional. Why does this feel familiar? It feels like I've gone through this before. Oh, really? Then I'll wait for you to reincarnate, to put your memories in here, so I can have my boredom alleviated, even if for a couple of days, huh? The old man grinned. Fan rolled his eyes, watching on. The woman watched him go, heartbroken. She went back into the cave with a stiff face and empty eyes. She just sat there for months. A bird's chirp was heard in this dead land as it landed on a wilted branch where another bird lay. The woman's heart shook and held the dead bird. In a flash of pink, the dead bird was revived. The two birds once again flew together. The woman closed her eyes in realization. A month passed, and a prismatic glow covered the skies as a pink aura shone around the cave and its surroundings, filling the dead lands with warmth. Life sprouted anew, with birds singing and insects buzzing. The woman walked out of the cave and smiled as a lonely tear fell on her hand. This is the last time I shed tears for you. From now on, I will rule over the world's emotions. I hope that one day your emotion center can be recovered. She waved, and the teardrop vanished in the sky. Fan said, "She's the emotion sovereign?" Was that her seat of enlightenment, the cave of emotion? Yes, the man used his emotions as a base to create the emotion sovereign without realizing it, but she was born out of the emotions of all living things. When she became a sovereign, she had already gotten over their little love. Her last tear signified the supreme emotion the man left in her. But now she had no use for it. The old man nodded with a heavy look. The tear could have helped the man regain his emotion center, but Fan shuddered, seeing as the tear arrived at a wide courtyard, entering a room. There sat the man in white, but now he was enveloped in black energy, eerie and deadly. The tear was unaware of the danger, wanting to restore his emotions as it went for him. Alas, the black energy lashed out and shattered it into pink mist, vanishing in the wind. What was that? The heavenly sovereign happened to arrive before the room, just as the pink mist flew into the heavens, feeling confused. Younger brother has been in there for months, yet still couldn't achieve his path while the woman earned the last spot. Humph, what a disgrace. Swordheart, go in there and see why he's still in seclusion. Yes. Swordheart stepped in and blew the door away, but then the black energy flooded through the gap. Swordheart waved his sleeves, sending 2 sword waves at it, but they just dissipated like nothing on contact. How is this possible? Swordheart gasped, with the heavenly sovereign also looking startled. Calm him down. I want to know what's going on. Yes. Swordheart shouted again and used his path. A prismatic glow shined, pressing back the black energy for a while. In the end, the black energy dissolved the glow, inch by inch, eating it away. The two stared in confusion, but Fan cried, That's like my apocalyptic thunder flame. Of course, because it's almost on the same level. The old man sighed. It's just that not a single being can wield these powers, not even the heavenly sovereign. The Steward, Demonic Emperor. Chapter 1304. Cause. The Steward, Demonic Emperor, the dreadful black energy was like a raging beast of gluttony that not even a sovereign path could stop as it forced Swordheart back. The heavenly sovereign was amazed. A huge eye appeared in the sky, shining golden rings in its pupil. It released a ripple, and the room was encased in a sealed space, blocking the black energy from reaching out. Divine Eye of the Void, Void Domain. The heavenly sovereign walked closer with a panicked Swordheart, observing through the barrier the roaming black energy. The man in white sat there and meditated still, with a face warped from pain. Above him, the black energy glowed in an eerie way. Swordheart gasped. What on earth is happening? The 10 sovereigns have been set, yet he can still achieve his path? What of it? When a sovereign is born, another must fall. Anyway, I came here to say that I'll help him kill one and empty a spot for him. But it doesn't look like I'm needed. The heavenly sovereign had a sinister smirk as he nodded in appreciation of his younger brother's condition. Swordheart was filled with fear. Yeah, this power alone is enough to even push me back despite being below a sovereign. Just what path did he discover? What indeed? The heavenly sovereign was curious. His emotion center is gone. It is. How did he form his path then? That's very strange. He formed his sovereign path in his broken state, what he couldn't do when he was fine. The heavenly sovereign's heart was filled with questions. Bang, the space shook hard as the black energy grew wilder and wilder like a savage beast. The heavenly sovereign shook, his face twitching. You're kidding me? Not even my void path can stop it? How? Why? He has so much power to fight my path. One that no other sovereign can? Maybe what? He isn't forming a sovereign path. The heavenly sovereign's voice shook, looking excited. Swordheart was puzzled. What else could it be then? Isn't he a half-sovereign? The heavenly sovereign grinned. Swordheart, I told you of my recent enlightenment of the realm beyond the sovereign stage, the supreme stage. I can feel its existence, but can't reach it, while my younger brother, impossible, reach supreme while bypassing the sovereign stage? Why not? Each of us has a different situation that makes everything possible. The heavenly sovereign's red eyes shook with glee. Younger brother's cultivation was an emotional heavenly Taos, hard to perfect. But now, he broke his emotion center. His whole is filled with the heavenly Taos, reaching above the sovereign stage, achieving the supreme stage. This is called a blessing in disguise. This is his situation because we don't have the emotional heavenly Taos and won't reach his insights by breaking our emotion center. Extreme Yin brings about extreme Yang. This is his path, apart from ours. Swordheart nodded. Extreme Yin brings extreme Yang so that the worlds may regain balance. So when the emotional heavenly Taos has its emotions broken, it goes beyond the sovereign path. Then now we will have a supreme, someone beyond the 10 sovereigns? 10 sovereigns, the heavenly sovereign sneered. The sovereign stage is nothing before the supreme stage. Let me tell you from my insight that the sovereign stage means grasping the world's paths and using the world laws. While a supreme can grasp the world, destroy, or create it, sovereigns are bugs to them, killed with but a thought. Swordheart gasped, his heart sinking. It was said supreme gods were nothing but a vague concept in humanity, but now they might be true. Swordheart turned to the man in white, hesitating. Bam! Divine Eye of the Void's barrier shook once more against the black energy and broke apart. The black energy surged, shooting for the two to swallow them. They fell back at once, with the heavenly sovereign smiling in excitement. His younger brother finally controlled the heavenly Taos. Though he was above him, he was still overjoyed, for he believed that one day he too would reach the supreme stage. The brothers would rule as supremes. This was heavenly Taos way, apart from mortalhood. Whoosh, as the black energy rose, the black glow on the man in white faded and his body shook, breaking in sweat. The heavenly sovereigns frowned. Younger brother, what happened? What is stopping you from advancing? Why did your supreme path fade? This path can't appear, The man in white panted in fear. Swordheart asked why. Like the heavenly sovereign said, with it, you'll have a supreme path going beyond the 10 sovereigns. Why not form it? Because it decays the heavenly Daos and destroys the world. What? Swordheart's heart tensed, while the heavenly sovereign was thrilled. So? Your emotion center is broken, so why care what happens to the world? This filthy world has no use, so better destroy it to create a new one. Once I become supreme, I'll create an immemorial world, free of any filth. Do sovereigns die when the world is destroyed? The man in white sighed. The apocalyptic path unleashes hell as heavenly Tao's punishment. The heavenly Tao sovereigns will be fine, while the human path will be no more. Great then, I thought we won't be able to create a new world. The heavenly sovereign nodded and patted his shoulder. Keep going, it's time we cleanse this world. Humanity barely rose up, and you want to destroy it before the end of days? Since it'll happen anyway, with the human path having good and evil, against the heavenly Tao's laws, it doesn't fit with the world. Even the simple spiritual beasts are being infected, turning to tricks and cunning. One day, even the purest spiritual beasts will be vile like humans. By the time evil overcomes good, hell is already unleashed. The human path shouldn't have been here in the first place. Just remove it. You do it, for I won't. The man in black flicked his sleeve and stood with a dark look. Swordheart frowned as he went. Your brother has changed. He wasn't like this with you. An elder brother is like a father. He cultivated the emotional heavenly Taos, mingling with the human path and going by their rules. So of course he showed me respect. But with the emotion center broken, removed from the human path, it's natural to change, haha. The heavenly sovereign said, he said we can just destroy ourselves and won't stop us. Well, let's get to it. Swordheart shook. You want to destroy it? But only a supreme can do it. You have felt it around, but feel its eons ahead. I didn't have a way before, but now we have a clear example. You mean? Precisely. The heavenly sovereign nodded. It's not that supremes want to see the world end, but that its end gives birth to them. The heavenly will allows anything to happen in the world. Since even the world can't stand humanity's disruption, destroying the world is all within its will. We'll follow the path of destruction and reach the supreme path. Swordheart nodded. How do we destroy it and remove humanity? Did you see the power he scattered? Yes, very shocking. That's a budding supreme's power. Heavenly sovereign paced. No one has that kind of power in this world, and no one knows how to achieve it. Even younger brother is a mere dabbler. They're the only ones who can match a sovereign stage's power. Who? The 5 great sacred beasts. Them. They were born from an ancient world and carry with them ancient world powers, equal to sovereigns while also engendering an opposite. With them engendering the other, they can be combined. Just think, what could such a fusion of 5 sovereign powers create? Supreme stage power? Yes, Swordheart. Go gather those beast powers, but don't let them find out. I want to see if I can truly create such a destructive power. The heavenly sovereign's eyes twinkled, his smile icy. The steward, demonic emperor. Chapter 1305, Ancient Great War. The steward, demonic emperor, the calm lake's surface rippled, whisking away the heavenly sovereign's evil grin. Joie Fan nodded. That's why the heavenly sovereign is so obsessed with destroying the world. His younger brother gave him that idea. The supreme path is a path of destruction. You can say that, but maybe it's only because of the heavenly sovereign's belief. Belief? He is a firm belief that the heavenly Taos are ultimate. He looks down on the human path just like a lofty emperor does with his subjects. The old man nodded. Even so, he never entertained the thought of destroying the world. Until now. No matter how much you loathe someone, would you just kill him over nothing? The heavenly sovereign isn't a lunatic, but ever since he saw his younger brother, it was like he was given instruction to flourish the heavenly Taos by destroying humanity. This idea, neither good nor evil, got implanted so deep in his mind that it led to the following disaster. Joifan gave him a long look. Neither good nor evil? Senior, you believe destroying the world is a good thing? I'm unsure. All I know is that its end would come sooner or later, just that it wouldn't be the heavenly sovereign, but someone or something else. Why else would there be a path of destruction in this world? Joie fan, you find destruction evil, due to your humanity or from being alive. But as a great path cultivator, putting aside your human origins, do you believe this world would be tainted by humans? The old man stared at Joie fan with a deep gaze. Joie fan shuddered, lowering his head in thought. As a human demonic cultivator, and I know how black humanity can become as I delve deeper in the matters of the heart. Destruction might be the just way for the world. Maybe the heavenly sovereign is heaven's envoy, and the sovereigns stopping him are defying heaven's will. The old man had a grim look, struggling with his own matters. Senior, Joie fan turned to him. I want to keep looking how the heavenly sovereign's younger brother chooses. The old man nodded. As you should, for this is what you came for. The old man waved, and the lake reflected a new image. The old man said, ever since the younger brother gave up on forming the apocalyptic path, his heart was in a bind. He ventured out to train and look for answers. This trek took him 50 years, a time in which his feet carried him throughout sacred domain. Despite not being a sovereign, as he touched upon the power of the supreme stage, he wasn't any weaker than one. He was in fact superior to child sovereign, which is why he earned the name, the uncrowned sovereign, with the people calling the brothers the heavenly Daos dignitaries. Elder brother, where are you? The young brother returned home to find the heavenly sovereign missing. He sensed something at the back of the mountain and went there to break its barrier with a mere tap. He witnessed flames everywhere unleashing incredible power. The heavenly sovereign glanced over. It's far from the supreme path, but he retained the trait of destroying everything. Swordheart's peak sword barrier was blown away like nothing. It would have been so much better if you formed your path. What are you doing here? The man in white stared coldly at the familiar power. Thunder Phoenix's berserk purple lightning. Kuanpung's chaos flame. Why are the 5 great sacred beasts' powers here? The heavenly sovereign smiled, only focusing on the wild energy. Swordheart had no time to pay attention, weaving through gestures as he stared at the 5-colored, swirling energy in the center to refine it. A black flame lashed out from them, with a dreadful aura that made the heavenly sovereign and his brother pale. Apocalyptic thunder flame. Joie fan's eyes shook and the elder shouted, the power of destruction? The heavenly sovereign looked on with excitement. I knew the 5 powers could unleash the same destructive force. By refining them, I can understand the path of destruction. Then I can purge the filth from this world and remake it anew. Ha ha! Bam! A sudden explosion echoed out, and the black flames scattered. The 5 powers broke apart and entered the nearby mountain. Swordheart grimaced and coughed blood. When dust settled, before them were 5 6th-grade sacred weapons of dazzling colors. They're the 5 divine swords that quelled the mortal domain. Joie fan sighed. They were actually failures made by the heavenly sovereign trying to combine the 5 powers. The heavenly sovereign looked hard. Swordheart apologized. Heavenly sovereign, I've given my all, but the powers are hard to fuse. No, they did fuse, but they're too opposite to stabilize. There has to be a way to enhance their engendering traits. The heavenly sovereign sighed and looked in the distance. The man in white said, You want the destructive power? Yes, didn't you say to find it ourselves? The heavenly sovereign said, As the heavenly Daos emissary, I pass its judgment. You don't want to destroy the world and assume your duty as a heavenly Daos cultivator, but I do. Swordheart, you've grown close to the 5 great sacred beasts over the years to get their powers. Now who among them can be used? Heaven Sealing CAO is simple. He helped me collect the powers of the other 4. No, simple people won't do this. I don't want just one of their powers, but all of them. You want to take their powers? Swordheart gasped. The heaven sovereign nodded. These powers come from the sacred beasts. You use your sword to fuse them, but it's not right, for it's just an object. So I will take their powers into myself to refine it. You mustn't. It will backfire and eat you alive. It matters not. Everything is for the heavenly Taos. Besides, I'm not so reckless as to take them all at once. The heavenly sovereign grinned and asked, Swordheart, any other candidates besides CAO? Swordheart nodded. Cheelin is violent and dragon ancestors' heart burns hot. Only vaulting Kunpeng had been affected by humanity and grew shrewd. Him, be it 9 serenities comprehending the demonic path, or my void path, we all understand that the simpler the people, the more in tune to heavenly Taos they are and harder to create a disaster. The old fowl thinks of himself as mighty clever, making him the perfect target. He'll have the 5 great sacred beasts clash among each other. With an evil grin, the heavenly sovereign turned to his younger brother. You won't make it harder for us, will you? The man in white left. I told you. What you do is not my problem. His emotion center is broken indeed, not caring about grudges. The past him would have gone against us, not because of his emotional heavenly Taos, but his human side. He wouldn't let the world be destroyed. Alas, without his emotion center, he's no longer human, ignoring all that happens in the end. The heavenly sovereign grinned. It's for the best, not butting in. I can trust him as well. Swordheart, go ask for Kunpeng to come see me. Swordheart left. The heavenly sovereign agreed to help Kunpeng become a divine beast, and the latter would help with picking off the sacred beasts one by one. Kunpeng followed his instructions like he was possessed. The first to fall was the clueless, sundering Thunder Phoenix. He fooled her to come to a valley where the 2 sovereigns and sacred beast killed her. The deadly purple lightning became the heavenly sovereign's eye power. Kunpeng planned on continuing, but his betrayal leaked, and he had to face off against the 3 remaining sacred beasts. The heavenly sovereign found Kunpeng useless and planned on silencing him, but first came to take his power. However, he didn't make it, as the emotion sovereign and the other sovereigns came to thwart him. Kunpeng had no choice but to expose the heavenly sovereign's plan to them all, that of destroying the world. Humanity and heavenly Taos conflict degenerated into the ancient Great War. The heavenly sovereign wanted it done in secret, but with his plan in the open, he went all out to fight against the 8 sovereigns. As for the 4 sacred beasts, due to the world being at stake, they joined with the 8 sovereigns to stop the heavenly sovereign. Kunpeng, as the traitor, was not trusted, but because of the common enemy, the Nether sovereign and emotion sovereign vouched for him, allowing him to join the steward demonic emperor. Chapter 1306, Mortal Domain's Creation. The steward demonic emperor Bam. The heavenly sovereign kicked the door open and stormed inside where his little brother meditated. The latter noticed who it was and spoke. Why have you barged into my cultivation chambers? Didn't your emotion center recover? The heavenly sovereign squinted. The man in white said, You're the heavenly sovereign, elder brother. You know very well it's a grueling task to restore an emotion center. True, the heavenly sovereign didn't drop it. Did you leak my plan? The man in white gave a taunting look. It's not my problem what you do. Now if that's all, leave. I want to meditate. The younger brother closed his eyes. Heavenly sovereign, your brother cares nothing about anything. It couldn't be a meddling. Swordheart spoke as he watched the man in white. The heavenly sovereign nodded after a pause, but his doubts never left. Hardly anyone knew about this. If he didn't leak it, then who did? Is it? The heavenly sovereign squinted at Swordheart. Swordheart, you're my most trusted aide. You've worked hard these decades to get the 5 powers. I also heard you're close to CAO. Heavenly sovereign, what are you implying? You can't be doubting me. Ha, of course not. I could never suspect you. The leak must have come from Kunpeng, the most conniving of the beasts. As king of spiritual beasts, he must have a few loose tongues working under him. The heavenly sovereign patted his shoulder with a grin, but his eyes were cold. It's nothing much either way, just a few beasts and some human sovereigns. Only, there's one beast I'm wary of, and I want you to bring me his head, just in case. Swordheart's heart shook. Who? Heaven sealing CAO. What? Why him? He did seal my divine eye of the void once. If that happens while I'm at odds with the other experts, it will lead to serious consequences. Swordheart rushed to explain. Heavenly sovereign, you're too modest. That was 1,000 years ago, when you were a half-sovereign. Now that you're aware of the sovereign stage. He's nothing, Sword Heart, just in case. The heavenly sovereign glanced at him, his tone firm. The heavenly Tao's sanctity is at stake. It can never fall in the hands of those human fools. You've never questioned my orders. So why now? Is that hesitation or unwillingness? Sword Heart's brow shook, and he nodded in the end. I'll go. The heavenly sovereign grinned, and the man in white sighed. Sword Heart has been by your side for so long. Why must you be hard on him? I'm not, just making him break all ties with the beasts. On the eve of war, I won't stand for any unknowns on my side. It's hard to hide from a sneak attack, especially those sly human sovereigns. Heaven knows what they might pull. Yeah, elder brother is strong, but you can't take on everyone. With enough numbers and a good plan, even you might lose. Haha, so you'll help me? No, I don't care about anything happening beyond these doors, including what happens to you. The man in white closed his eyes. In the off chance that the heavenly Taos do decay, the void path will be lost. Not that it matters, since heavenly Tao cultivators like us don't care about our weakling relatives. The heavenly sovereign squinted as he left. Yeah, a weakling younger brother with no emotion center is not reliable at all. But I do not need to rely on anyone, for I am the heavenly sovereign. The heavenly sovereign huffed and vanished, leaving the man in white with an eerie grin. A month later, Sword Heart was back, bloodied and missing his left arm. The spiritual beast spread news that heaven-sealing CAOs left. I was wounded by Sword Heart. This only worked to further the animosity between the heavenly sovereign and the spiritual beasts. Heavenly sovereign, I couldn't kill him, only ruin and I. His sealing can't recover and won't be a threat to you. Sword Heart panted hard, looking pale. The heavenly sovereign beamed. Ha ha, well done. Though it didn't matter if you couldn't either, for he can't do anything to me. Get better, for in 3 months we go war. The heavenly sovereign patted his shoulder and felt like he was on top of the world. Zhua Fan sighed. Sword Heart is so loyal, knowing it was only the heavenly sovereign's test, yet still fought until he lost an arm. I finally know why CAO lost his eye, all because of the heavenly sovereign's suspicion of Sword Heart. Sword Heart has the sword path. The sword is the king of weapons, in the hands of rulers who value loyalty above all. The old man explained, of humanity's 3 bonds, loyalty, filial piety, and siblinghood, Sword Heart's sword path holds them at the highest regard. Zhua Fan nodded. So he's human? Half, why half? Because the sword path is part of humanity, while a sword is not. It was the only reason the heavenly sovereign accepted him and trusted him. The old man pointed at the lake. Keep watching. Zhua Fan turned to the lake and saw the heavenly sovereign and Sword Heart go to war 3 months later. They didn't get far, hearing explosions behind, with his clan's grounds leveled as his kin perished. He turned back to find no one remaining, not even his younger brother. Even the imparting stone in his room was gone. The heavenly sovereign gnashed his teeth. Damn bastard. He knew I had a secret imparting stone and fled with it when I wasn't around. Heavenly sovereign, what happened? Sword Sovereign asked. The heavenly sovereign's lips shook, his eyes red. The records for divine, Eye of the Void, and purple lightning gold, I left behind in case of my fall, so that someone would pick up the work of heavenly Taos are gone. To think, heavenly sovereign, why did you think you'd lose? Aren't you confident in this war? It's not like you. It's because the heavenly sovereign was about to answer when he exclaimed, I was played. That damn brat should have no emotions, no loyalty, and couldn't care less of the world. So why did he scheme against me? Heavenly sovereign, you mean your younger brother? Yes, he started spouting crap that day, and I got fooled into leaving an exit. He did it on purpose. The heavenly sovereign squinted and gnashed his teeth. Did his emotional heavenly Taos recover? And does he want me to fail in destroying the world? What do we do now? We can't let them get their hands on the imparting stone. They will learn my ultimate skill and make winning impossible. The heavenly sovereign clenched his fists, his eyes glowing golden. A huge eye appeared in the sky, scouring the earth. 3 fleeing sacred beasts entered its vision. Found you. The heavenly sovereign pulled Sword Heart and crossed thousands of miles in an instant, reaching Cheelin and blocking him. Damn beast, where do you think you're running? Void paths blink. Cheelin gasped and fled in another direction, just as Sword Heart waved and sent a scarlet sword wave. Feeling terror, Cheelin shouted, "What sword is this?" "Soaring sword." Sword Heart's eyes glinted. "It's the sword made with your power against it. You can't take it." Whoosha! Blood flowed as Cheelin's hard hide couldn't block the sharp sword wave, cutting off his leg and making him stagger to the ground. The heavenly sovereign smirked, using the divine eye of the void and purple lightning gold eye. A purple cover fell and boomed as it covered the land for thousands of miles and made it vanish. Humph! Hand over the imparting stone or die here. The heavenly sovereign pulled Sword Heart and vanished to block the dragon ancestor this time. Dragon ancestor unleashed his decimating golden flame, but the decimating sword sucked the flames and dragon ancestor fell wounded. With another purple flash, another part of the land was carved. When the heavenly sovereign went after Kuanpung, "Where is that fool? Where's he hiding?" "Heavenly sovereign, that oversized bird is too fast, and we lost him. No one can escape my heavenly Daos eye." The heavenly sovereign's right eye shone in 12 golden halos, vaulting Kuanpung. "You can run, but you can't hide. You can't escape my heavenly eye. Divine eye of the void 12th stage, true world." A huge golden eye shone in the sky and glinted as it sent powerful fluctuations in every direction for miles, thousands of miles, billions in fact. With one final push, a large chunk of the sacred domain up and vanished. With the fall of the barrier, the mortal domain was born. Vaulting Kuanpung, hiding in Allbeast mountain range, felt the pressure above and sighed. This is the heavenly sovereign's power. His younger brother knew him best. There was no chance of us beating him, even together, the steward demonic emperor. Chapter 1307, Nine Path as One. The steward, demonic emperor, heavenly sovereign, he's now trapped behind the barrier. He won't escape. Ignore him. So long as he's trapped, he can't be a threat to me. The heavenly sovereign looked heavily at Sword Heart. We'll now go to war with the old fools of the human path. Let's deal with them and then find that heartless younger brother of mine, Humph. The heavenly sovereign vanished, and Sword Heart went after him. An hour later, on a flat expanse with no man in sight for miles and miles, 10 figures waited. The heavenly sovereign arrived, ignoring all but the man in white. "Younger brother, I thought your emotion center was broken and you don't care about anything. How come you still side with humanity? Emotions might be gone, but the heart remains. The senses remain." The man in white took a deep breath. "I am now blocked from feeling the true love of the world. But having once walked the path of emotional heavenly Daos, I could never forsake the world." "Is this why you never formed the destructive path?" "It can be so." The man in white nodded. The heavenly sovereign smirked. "What a blunder. I always took you for being dead inside, not minding anything or anyone, but not once did you give up the world. What's even more surprising is to find you so shrewd, fooling me without the slightest tell. When I heard your plan, I was about to advise against it, but then this idea hit me. I know you too well to try to change your mind when you're dead set on something. So before I reveal my stance, I thought of playing a little useful trick. You leaked my plan to those fools and hinted that I'd leave a record of my void path behind, colluding with the beast to steal it. It was to find a weakness, wasn't it?" The heavenly sovereign's lip shook in anger. "Too bad, but the 3 beasts are trapped. You won't get the chance to find anything about my power. Once I'm through with you, I'll take my time finding the right way to the destruction path." The sovereign's hearts sank. The heavenly sovereign's power was beyond anything they imagined, sealing the 3 sacred beasts like nothing. Only a one-eyed man stepped forward, shouting, "Heavenly sovereign, you're too full of yourself. Your divine eye of the void lost to me once already." "Well, if it isn't heaven sealing CAO, you didn't go to steal with the others, helping these guys instead? Do you plan on sealing my eyes again?" The heavenly sovereign mocked. "Time changes everything. especially if it is as long as 1,000 years. As you are now, without your eyes, you still plan on sealing mine? Huh. CAO raged, giving a glare to Sword Heart. Tai Jianshin, our friendship for decades was for nothing. I helped you train your sword by gathering what you needed. Why did you turn your sword on me? Sword Heart lowered his head. Bam! A huge sound echoed, and heaven-sealing CAO shuddered. His body shook hard as purple lighting flared in his direction and made him spew blood. The heavenly sovereign's right eye shone in 2 golden rings, while his left eye pulsed purple. He smirked. The berserk purple lightning sure is amazing, complementing my divine eye of the void. Ha ha ha! Berserk void annihilation. The purple lightning wreaked havoc on CAO's body as he struggled to fight it. Lightning field, true world. The heavenly sovereign's right eye shined with 12 halos. A boom shook the skies and purple flickered, resulting in CAO vanishing. The others gasped in shock, with an old man in black crying, "Heavenly Sovereign, what did you do to CAO?" Zhuo Fan's eyes shook as he turned to the old man. He was one and the same with the one in the image. The Heavenly Sovereign shocked Zhuo Fan with his next action. 9 serenities, I only sent him where he belongs. I'll deal with those beasts once I'm through with you bastards. The Heavenly Sovereign chuckled in disdain. Did losing your pet get you all shy? So human sovereigns need dogs to be threatening. They all were grave and furious, while their hearts sank in despair. In a blink, they were unable to even react as the Heavenly Sovereign got rid of heaven-sealing CAO. The Heavenly Daos is stronger than the human path. With morale an all-time low, the man in white stepped forward. We're standing here today, not because of the strength of the Heavenly Sovereign, but the path within our hearts that we will never betray. 9 serenities and the others grew determined. We're human path cultivators, and we're not about to stand and watch it die. It matters not the strength of the enemy. It was something they had to do. Is this why you're going against me? The Heavenly Sovereign stared at his younger brother. Even without your emotion center, you still walk the path of emotional Heavenly Daos and refuse to form the supreme destructive path. The man in white nodded. The world chose me to carry the destructive path, but I believe in choosing my own path, the one in my heart, not destruction. Just how the emotion sovereign cut out romantic love and opened herself to the world's peak emotion. I broke my emotion center, and the world felt dead to me, without love or any emotion. It was also why my emotion is noble, and I decided to go against heaven and have humanity stay on top. Since you've decided, there's nothing more to talk about. Our paths are different. There's nothing to discuss about conflicting paths, even as brothers. The Heavenly Sovereign sighed inside and charged. As heavens will wish the world's end, I shall carry its duty in destroying the human path sovereigns. This world doesn't want you. Whoosh, the other side flew to meet him, determined to go through with this. No matter what you think as the purported heavens will, the human path will survive. Heavenly Sovereign, you'll have to go through us to remake the world. Boom, explosions echoed all around, shaking the sky and crumbling the earth. The 10 sovereigns met with such force that the space warped and broke apart to reveal black holes. It lasted 3 months and killed every creature in the radius of millions of miles. Once the world stopped shaking, there were no stars, moon, or sun, only endless darkness. The space law couldn't keep up with their relentless onslaught. Sword Heart and the human sovereigns were wounded and tired, panting hard and bleeding. Only the Heavenly Sovereign's eyes were just as hard, despite the slight soreness. It seems heaven wins in the end. The human path falls, The Heavenly Sovereign's eye shined in 11 golden halos. Cleanse. A huge golden eye appeared in the black sky, unleashing a deadly aura. The others looked bleak, with Child Sovereign saying, "We couldn't beat him, we lost." A ripple spread through them, and they just crumbled, gone from this world. All that remained were prismatic motes, their souls, sighing at the end of the world. Who a sudden wind picked up that pulled the souls to the side, shielding them behind the man in white so that cleanse wouldn't hurt them. Even Sword Heart's path flew to his side. What's happening? The Heavenly Sovereign looked oddly at Sword Heart, who was just as baffled. I don't know. My path is out of my control. Elder brother, the man in white smiled. We both touched upon the sovereign stage, but I have no sovereign path weaker than you. But luckily, I comprehended two things when I felt the destructive path. Firstly, before the world turns to hell, there's destruction and cleansing. Secondly, that the holder of this path can offer themselves so that the world gets another chance. I have always believed the world that nurtured all creation wouldn't be so heartless. The man in white released black energy that wrapped around him and ate him alive, while the 9 sovereign paths fused, becoming a huge prismatic palm and shooting at the huge eye in the sky, the steward demonic emperor. Chapter 1308, Heart's Choice, the steward demonic emperor Bam. The prismatic palm crushed the heavenly eye. The heavenly sovereign jerked and coughed blood. As he looked up again, he watched the figure eaten away by the black energy, sacrificing herself for a moment of sovereign stage power. Humph. Well played, younger brother. But still your loss. We two are the only ones who have touched upon the supreme stage. You used that power to give me a heavy wound at the price of your life. But how will you stop me when I heal? You've only delayed the inevitable. I'll be the last one standing in the end. Think again. A soft voice reached him, and in a prismatic glow, a pink arrow shot the heavenly sovereign. The heavenly sovereign sneered, "Emotion sovereign, I am wounded, but not enough for your cheap trick to work. Divine eye of the void, void barrier." Whoosh, 12 barriers formed before the heavenly sovereign, blocking the arrow. The heavenly sovereign gave a triumphant smirk. Clap, the heavenly sovereign's left eye flashed with lightning, and the barriers were destroyed. The pink arrow struck true, striking him and making his eyes go pink. Ha ha ha, heavenly sovereign, weren't you on the heartless path, the empty void? My bewitching is nothing on others, but deadly on you. Your very path is at risk of crumbling, and you want to ruin the world? Humph! I am possible. His neck went red, and the heavenly sovereign spat. Why did purple lightning gold? I flared up. You got the drop on me knowing this would happen. How? An image appeared of emotion, sovereign soul. Did you think yourself the winner? Long before you approached Kuanpung, she had approached him. Your destruction plan had won you no allies, while your divine eye of the void grew their fears. So she sacrificed herself in a plan with Kuanpung, leaving a trace of her soul behind in the purple lightning to strike at the right moment and help me plant the bewitching. Now you understand, heavenly sovereign, the best in the world. Younger brother, to think that it's you who won in the end. The heavenly sovereign clenched his fists as he made a bitter face at the fading image of his younger brother. Well done. I've always been above you all our lives, but you won this time. But now those sovereigns only have their path protecting them. Weak. While I'm bewitched, even with a thread of hope, I will be back. Time is on my side. I will take back this win. He went back to Sword Heart's side. The weakened sovereigns couldn't stop him. The fading younger brother showed a faint smile. Elder brother, I'll stop you even in the next life. Fine. The heavenly sovereign shouted back with a nod. We shall see. I'll be waiting. The heavenly sovereign left with Sword Heart. As the black energy burned the younger brother fully, his figure vanished from the lake, making Zhuo Fan sigh. The war of sovereigns and the brothers' feud is only because of diverging paths, not out of a grudge. That's why the heavenly sovereign said true big players fight in the open, because tricks and schemes don't work on them. Despite the heavenly sovereign losing to his younger brother's ploy, well, Zhuo Fan flinched, turning to the old man with a bow. Senior, forgive my ignorance of not knowing that you are the 9 Serenities' demonic sovereign. 9 Serenities waved him off. Let formalities not constrict us. How do you feel after watching the ancient drama? Feel, Zhuo Fan pondered. I now know why you could write down the 9 Serenities' secret records. Oh, the hero of the story wasn't me, yet you could see my experience? Of course, and not through just the lake, but from talking with Senior. I realized that Senior loves gossip, But it's because of this that you could learn so many secrets and arts of the sacred domain to compile the incredible 9 Serenities secret records. I am in awe. I can never look at those nagging biddies the same way. Ahem. 9 Serenities felt awkward. You know that I walk the demonic path, that demons are born within our hearts. To remove demons, you need to inquire into people's hearts all the time. It's part of the job description. Let me ask you this. What do you feel about the Heavenly Sovereign's younger brother? Joie Fan fell silent for a while. I walk the demonic path, a selfish path. Even sacrifice, it will only come for someone, not for the world. I lack that kind of great compassion and love. The Heavenly Sovereign's younger brother did it for all creation, even forsaking the supreme path. I could never escape its allure, that of becoming a god and having the world at your fingertips. Despite having no emotion center, yet still willing to follow the path inside his heart to dedicate himself to the world, is worthy of respect. He's far better than I could ever be. It's reasonable for you to say that 9 Serenities looked up, but would you believe me if I say he is you? Joie Fan shuddered. He is me. A more apt description is that he is a past you. An aged and familiar voice sounded this time, making Joie Fan look over. You're that old man from the Nether Sea. How? Let me introduce you. He is the master here, the rebirth sovereign, in charge of the past and present lives. 9 Serenities smiled. The old man nodded. You met my regrets in the Nether Sea, but the Heavenly Sovereign has now destroyed it. I guided you to the Heavenly Rebirth Lake to see you and check if you inherited the supreme path from your past. The supreme path? Joie Fan was confused. What is going on here? The Heavenly Sovereign's younger brother was the past me? Didn't he sacrifice himself? Without a sovereign path, a broken soul would fade away. Did he reincarnate here? No way. He was burned down to nothing. The two laughed, with 9 Serenities speaking. Even destroyed. How is it that you got reborn, Joie Fan? Wasn't it through your 9 Serenities secret records, through desire? Could anyone be reborn by relying on another's soul through desire? Rather, your soul wasn't obliterated in the detonation, leaving but a fraction behind. Not even you could damage it. Why then was this sliver protected? Joie Fan exclaimed, Sovereign path. Yes, my path has been shielding your soul from total destruction. 9 Serenities nodded. When the Heavenly Sovereign's younger brother died, I used my path to protect his sliver of soul and reincarnate. As for me, I reincarnated too, but lived a mortal life. Joie Fan gasped. Then the you hear, a shadow's memories, the rebirth sovereign explained, a sliver of obsession. You know that to reincarnate at the Heavenly Rebirth Lake, one must leave behind memories, feelings, everything. 9 Serenities left behind his thought of reincarnation in order to see with his own eyes your return according to the plan to inherit that heavenly Daos of before. Only then can he find peace. Joie Fan was conflicted. Shadow. It can't even be called a soul, only a shadow of a thought. After seeing you, it will fade. 9 Serenities smiled and patted his shoulder. You now have a choice. Inherit the emotional heavenly Daos and grasp the precious power, fulfilling the promise in blocking the Heavenly Sovereign from destroying the world. Or do nothing and wait for death. The Heavenly Sovereign will be coming here soon to steal the rebirth path. Joie Fan cried. You call that a choice? No one wants to die. Of course it is a choice of the heart. 9 Serenities was solemn. You said it yourself. You're a selfish demonic cultivator, but you were once on the emotional heavenly Daos path. Your hearts differ, and thus makes inheriting that power impossible. Even though you're one and the same, Joie Fan hung his head. Everything can be fake in the world, but only my heart is ever true. I could never just give up all these years spent on the demonic path at the drop of a hat. And for a path of love, why did I even choose demonic path in the first place? Because you had my sovereign demonic path. So no matter what life you'd have, all would choose the demonic path, even if you were the son of a righteous leader. Why do I get the feeling you played me? Joie Fan's mouth twitched. In that case, why not just give me a righteous, sovereign path? They didn't want to? Was only Master 9 Serenities willing to sacrifice himself for me? Is it a way to treat the guy who sacrificed himself for the world? The Steward, Demonic Emperor. Chapter 1309, Acceptance. The Steward, Demonic Emperor. The two chuckled. 9 Serenities was the one to continue the explanation. You're wrong to blame them. All of us were moved by your self-sacrifice to save every being and would be willing to give up everything to save you. But for you to train in the 9 Serenities' secret records, only I could have guided you. 9 Serenities' secret records. As you've seen yourself, the moment you were the closest to the supreme stage power was when you fused 9 paths. You used that power to wrest the wounded sword heart's path and take it for yourself. 9 Serenities' eyes gleamed. I am confident your emotional heavenly Daos is the pathway to reach the supreme stage through uniting the 9 human sovereign paths. Nothing is hopeless in this world, no matter how bad it looks. Even with the destruction path appearing, there will be another path to stop it. This path is your emotional heavenly Daos. When you couldn't form your sovereign path, maybe it just needed the right timing for the 10 Daos to unite. The Void Path and the 9 human paths will help you form the Supreme Path and become Lord over heaven and earth. In other words, the younger brother chose to get the 10 paths instead of forming the Sovereign Path. Heaven's will didn't wish for destruction, only leading to this path due to his broken emotion center. That's how it is. But Heaven's will is hard to read, and we are only able to judge it with our own views. Who could say the real truth of the Tao? Even a heavenly sovereign can't declare he represents the world. Only a supreme, or maybe not even it. 9 Serenities shook himself in that line of thought. Anyway, they're out of our grasp, and all we can do is follow our path in helping every being pass this crisis. You have what it takes to do it, and I happen to make the art to help you integrate all paths. When you become supreme, it will be like how the world can only have 10 sovereigns, but you will be the sole person blocking the destruction of the supreme stage from appearing. Even if it does appear, you have what it takes to fight it. Zhuo Fan nodded. To stop the heavenly sovereign from getting to the destruction path, you want to take over the world first. But won't the heavenly sovereign try to stop me? The sovereign path shields your fate. Only my path guided you to seek the demonic path. But letting demons take you is easy, while overcoming them is hard. The hardest part of the demonic path is drifting from desire to desire before you can break free of your demons and reach the end of the path, seeing the hearts and minds of the world without desire. It's easier said than done. There are countless righteous cultivators who couldn't escape their demons and sank further into their grasp. Zhuo Fan nodded. Master 9 Serenities, I've been a no-good demon once, shambling around without aim and witnessing all kinds of demons. Some are cloaked in righteousness, making escape all the harder. I had the fortune to be sharp enough and perceptive enough to be here today instead of living my meager existence as a petty criminal. Alas, guess I did have a knack for the demonic path. Ha! Knack my ass. 9 Serenities' face twitched. Do you have any idea how long I've waited here for you? Right, about 5,000 years? Zhuo Fan counted. I spent a few centuries cultivating in sacred domain, then got reborn 5,000 years later and cultivated about 100 years more, quite quickly I might say. 9 Serenities rolled his eyes and rebirth sovereign laughed. That's your current life. What's that supposed to mean? How many lives did I have? Since the fall of the ancient era, 32 lives in total. In most of them, you were unable to get your hands on the 9 Serenities' secret records, wasting even more time. What, 32? That many? Zhuo Fan gasped in disbelief. 9 Serenities said, the demon transformation art blends all the paths, which is why each life must be a clean slate. In other words, all previous paths had to be purged. So each reincarnation removes your memories. There were only around 5 times you got the 9 Serenities' secret records. It's lucky you made it all the way here this time around. The other times, humph, once you were too scared to train in it. The other time, ending like your disciple, not willing to let go of your cultivation and dying from the backlash. The same petty demons you're denouncing were you in a few lifetimes. Now, ain't that talent? Huh? How can this be? Joie Fan blinked. But I got the 9 Serenities secret record from your tomb. If someone found it already, who put it back? The two replied at the same time, the Heavenly Sovereign. What? Wipe that dumb look already. For 32 lives, the Heavenly Sovereign had been on us like a hawk, as well as sacred domain. You think he wouldn't be cautious of the 9 Serenities secret records appearing? He knew everything. Of course. Why didn't he stop it? Why? 9 Serenities shrugged. After he found the 9 Serenities secret records, you had already reincarnated a few times, and his sharp mind must have connected the dots. But our plan helped him as well. He couldn't remove the bewitching placed on him by himself, nor could he force the emotion sovereign to do it. So he was looking forward to having your emotional sovereign path do it instead. Bewitched, his void path was damaged, broken heart, so reaching the supreme stage was impossible. Why wouldn't he be happy to have all 10 paths gathered? Doesn't that also further his plan? Besides, the void path can hold anything, even sovereign paths. But to fuse them is beyond him. Seeing my demon transformation art, he had to have been laughing so hard the first time he found our plan. There's no way he'd stop us. You never noticed how you've been led all this time? Joie Fan frowned. Couldn't he have just taken the demon transformation art if he wanted it so much? Why wait for me to get it? What was demon transformation art's first warning? To remove your previous cultivation. In the case of the Heavenly Sovereign, he'd have to let go of his sovereign stage cultivation and even his sovereign path. 9 Serenities raised his eyebrows. The strongest sovereign wasn't ready to risk his chance at the supreme stage or his void path over some sketchy art. The ungodly risk aside, it might have been a trap. What would you do in his shoes? Joie Fan nodded with a sigh. Yeah, great experts would never want to start from scratch again. Despite the journey being longer in this case, the risk wasn't worth it. Even a sovereign would falter. He didn't have the nerve to do it, nor is he hopeful of others with their poor talents. Only you, his younger brother, are the best candidate. Just that 32 reincarnations proved your lack of talent in the demonic path. He could no longer take the weight and took action this time, guiding you. It did the trick, and you got the gist on the spot. Thanks to an awesome master. Ha ha ha. Joie Fan's face twitched. Why don't I feel the slightest difference between you and the Heavenly Sovereign? It's like you're in it together to mess with me. Right you are. When masters fight, they do it in the open. You're the pawn of all of us. Despite the different purposes, interests aligned for a while. Then you also were ready to guide me. Of course, we laid the groundwork throughout the world to guide you the minute you trained in the demon transformation art. 9 Serenities nodded. The sacred domain was under the Nether Sovereign and the others' care, leaving their remnant images in different realms. Sovereign Yin chose to bring his path to the mortal domain through a whirlwind tunnel and telcoimping our plan. All that remained was for you to arrive. A cultivator is an adventurer first and foremost, and most of them in the mortal domain would visit the All-Beast Mountain Range at some point, including you. And if I haven't, since the first plan to guide you would be a bust, Plan B would be in effect. Plan B, yeah, being willing to give up your sovereign path. 9 Serenities smiled. Demonic path is as selfish as it gets. If you could have relinquished it, that meant you rose above all the desires and demons, finishing the demonic path through the demon transformation art. At that point, your fate will be readable in the heavens, and Sovereign Yun would send someone to lure you to receive our inheritances to reach the same conclusion. So that's why. Joie Fan sighed. These players had my life's track in the palm of their hands, taking another stage the minute I passed the previous one. If no plan worked, the lives will be spent in mediocrity until the moment they could use me again. You used me like a toy. No, toys are at someone's mercy, while we merely guided you and didn't dictate your every choice. 9 Serenities spoke hard. Just like now, we have no control on what your heart wants. Your choice is yours. You hold everything, including our hopes and the lives of everyone in the world. Joie Fan looked at the two, then nodded. Let's begin then. I accept my previous life's inheritance, the steward, demonic emperor. Chapter 1310, Showdown, the Steward Demonic Emperor. Oh, I see. In the Luo clan's hall, the three sacred beasts sat around and finished their tale. Dragon ancestors sighed. The heavenly sovereign and Zhuo Fan were destined to meet. They shared the same heavenly Daos, but took opposite directions, brothers turning on each other. Kunping nodded, with Zhuo Fan and the heavenly sovereign refining the 10 paths. One got the results while the other experienced them. Whomever reaches the supreme path first decides the fate of us all. Cao muttered, then what we can do now is mess with the heavenly sovereign's focus and buy Zhuo Fan time. Kunpeng was solemn. We need many experts. Qilin and Shower, you're with me and Old Dragon. We will unite all humanity and help you become mature sacred beasts. The two nodded. Cao glanced at Swordchild. You're coming with me. The place where Sword Heart reached his path will be of help to you. As Zhuo Fan's demonic sword, your opponent will be Heavenly Sovereign Sword. Right. Swordchild clenched his fists, ready for battle. They were the only ones who could actually be of help. The three sacred beasts wasted no time, leaving with them, and the Luo clan was left without a plan. Luo Yunhai pondered and shouted, Everyone, whoever is willing to die with me, is welcome to come. Yunhai, Luo Yinchang cried. She knew what he was up to. Luo Yunhai took a deep breath. With everything at stake, no one will be safe. The destruction of the world is an end to us all. We are weak, but just like how we surrounded the invincible sword, we will prevail. We can't threaten a sovereign, but stalling even for a moment is good. Luo Yunhai stormed out of the hall with the rest ready to die alongside him. Luo Yinchang didn't stop him, closing her eyes and hoping for Zhuo Fan to make it in time to save Yunhai. 3 days later, Luo Yunhai led the entire Emperor lands to war on Mirror Moon Cottage. They stared at the boundary, and Li Jingtian and the others led the forces into the small building. They had barely rushed inside when they splattered on the ground in pieces from a mere strong wind. Hundreds fell at that moment alone. The men were shaken, with some experts from the 8 Emperor's lands turning to the Luo clan having never experienced such a massacre. The Luo clan, however, was unfazed. With the military as the core of their conduct, they knew the risks of going to war. First, it was to protect the people of a third-rate empire. Now, it was to protect the world, for it held the people they loved. For them, they would jump into hell even knowing it would have no effect at all. This was the only thing they could do for their people. Waves of experts from Sacred Domain, led by the Luo clan's higher-ups, rushed at the boundary to break it with their own flesh and blood. Thousands, then millions, all exploded in a shower of blood. Such a sacrifice was nothing before the Heavenly Sovereign's barrier. But maybe the incessant shouting and clamor did have some effect, for the 8 half-sovereigns came out. Whoosh, sword energy flared everywhere and took tens of thousands of men down with them. A red-haired man shouted, If you're in such a rush to die, go die hanging from a tree like the bugs you are instead of buzzing in our ears. You're disturbing Master's cleansing. Great. That's why we're here. Luo Yunhai smiled. If we can harass him, then our deaths are worth it. The red-haired man's eye twitched. Is it worth losing so many lives? Absolutely. Luo Yunhai signaled, and Xiu Yunhai and his wife led another charge against the 8 with their imperial marks. Boom! The 8 swiped with their fingers, and they all turned to ashes, even the initial elders of the Luo clan. Luo Yunhai didn't even blink, his mind set as his hand fell again, sending heaven and earth sages this time, who obeyed without fault. The red-haired man squinted with puzzlement. Do they all want to die for nothing? Humph! Then taking their head will change their minds. The man flashed before Luo Yunhai and clutched his neck. Take the head and the body will follow. Your death will make them all scatter. You're nothing but weak bugs, hardly worth our time. Go ahead then. Luo Yunhai mocked without fear. I may die, but they won't retreat because we all understand one fundamental truth. Retreating means the end of the world, them included. Living one more day is worth it. Wrong. You think we're doing it for us? You're not. Luo Yunhai shook his head, sneering. "I heard about the heavenly sovereign's matters, that you've been around him for so long that you've forgotten humanity's strength. In different situations, we'd be afraid of half-sovereigns, but not this time. For behind us are the people we must protect." Luo Yunhai's voice was carried through the sky, echoing in the hearts of all men. The 8 Emperor's Land's experts faltered in their retreat, growing furious and charging as well. Bam! Luo Yunhai was sent flying and coughing blood dead. The red-haired man sneered then froze. He found that the death of the leader did nothing to dissuade the rest from throwing their lives. Just like Luo Yunhai said, they all held little care for themselves. Ignorant fools! The 8 half-sovereigns mocked them as they slaughtered them. The sky took a red tint from the flood of blood. What was strange was that none cried in misery. Sword Heart stood before the courtyard and watched the spectacle in silence before turning to the Heavenly Sovereign's room. The Heavenly Sovereign asked, "Is the disturbance still around?" "Heavenly Sovereign, they came to harass your cleansing. They won't leave." "Humph! A bunch of fools think they can disturb my meditation with some noise. They are indeed fools, oblivious to how useless it all is. But I don't believe they'll stop." Sword Heart gave a sigh. "I've never seen ants pick up a fight with a half-sovereign, let alone multiple. Do they hope to beat them with numbers?" The Heavenly Sovereign was silent, and Sword Heart left. The clamor outside went on still for 3 whole months. The blood dyed the earth red, covered in corpses for miles. The 8 half-sovereigns watched in awe as they still charged over the wall of corpses. They had wandered the world and seen many aspects of humanity, but never like this. Is it the final push before dying? No, they had seen that madness plenty of times. This was different. Every man here became a hero of legends, a fearless warrior. But such an ideal did not exist. Until now. I'd have let you go any other time. Whoosh! A huge image appeared as the red-haired man released his sacred body and unleashed a scarlet wave. "But come just one more time, and I have no choice to be cruel." The men didn't even flinch. He nodded. "Fine, then allow me to deliver you from life." Whoosh! A sword wave came down like death, yet their eyes never wavered. Bam! A small figure appeared and broke the attack. Sword Heart, who a violent explosion shook the skies, and the 8 half-sovereigns withdrew in shock. The actual Sword Heart in the courtyard shook and gasped. The aura of a sovereign. That kid found his path. The steward, demonic emperor. Chapter 13:11. Heavenly Sovereign appears. The steward, demonic emperor Bang. The 5 sacred beasts appeared as well with their mighty auras, making the sacred bodies crumble. The 8 fell back in shock. They had no chance against the might of the beasts at the level of sovereigns. Half-sovereigns were the closest to the sovereign stage, but far beneath them. Yunhai, elderly, Elder Chiu, Gu Santong noticed the familiar faces among the bodies with clenched fists. Kunping sighed. "How foolish. Why could you do something so pointless? I shouldn't have said so much, telling you to just wait instead. This is humanity, the human path." CAOs only I shook and roared. "Sword Sovereign, get out here right now. Look at all the dead people. They are the humanity you yearned for." Sword Sovereign looked outside and turned heavy. Heavenly Sovereign spoke. "Sword Heart, the old man is calling you. Go and break it. The once humane sword path." Whoosh! A prismatic glow entered Sword Sovereign. He shook and gasped. "Heavenly Sovereign, they're giving me my path. You're my heavenly sword. Yours is mine. As I refine the 10 paths, they include yours as well. Now that the enemy has come, I'm at a critical moment and can only rely on you. Go lead the 8 fools and block those beasts." Whoosh! Prismatic glows flew out of Heavenly Sovereign's room and into the half-sovereigns. The 8 shuddered, their powers surging like a flood and making the world tremble. This is the power of the sovereign stage. The red-haired man cackled. Heavenly Sovereign didn't lie to us. When he stole the others' paths, he will grant them upon us, helping us break through and fulfilling our life's wish. The others were laughing out of joy. Only the 5 sacred beasts stared coldly. Whoosh! Sword Sovereign appeared before them, holding a white sword and pointing it at the six. Cao's lone eye glared with hatred. Tai Jianxin, you're finally here. I considered you a friend. Why did you attack me? Loyalty stands above. I can only say sorry. Humph, when you trained your path with me, you said it was a human sword path, while leaving heavenly sword path behind. So I found someone for you, one that achieved the path you trained in that cave. Patting Swordchild's shoulder, Cao taunted, heavenly sword path against human sword path. Which is stronger, which is weaker? You must be eager to know the result. Go ahead, give it a try. Is the sword path your heart created stronger, or the sword path you learned by heavenly sovereign's side? Clink. Swordchild held a pitch-black long sword pointing it forward. I am a demonic sword, you a heavenly sword. Before the showdown between Dad and Sword Sovereign, we will settle our fight. Ha ha ha. There can only be one who can wield the sword path. Since we're both sword path sovereigns, we must fight. Sword Sovereign shot for Swordchild. Swordchild flew forward as well, and the two swords met thousands of times in a blink. Whoosh, the two pulled back and explosions cracked the sky, leaving black holes. Even the stars and sun were gone. The people gasped with the Emperorland's forces falling back. Not out of fear, but knowing help has come. Stopping Heavenly Sovereign depended on them. A leaf floated between the two, swirling in the breeze. As it barely touched the ground, the two jumped into action. Clanging sounded all over the place, the only sign the two were even fighting. The 5 sacred beasts and the 8 half-sovereigns were the only ones able to see their sword energy clash. The half-sovereigns grew excited, shouting at the sacred beasts. They say your strength is that of a sovereign. Now that we're at the same stage, I ask for your guidance. You, Kumping raised an eyebrow. You're not even close. Red-haired man sneered. We'll just see about that. Bam! The red-haired man shot for Kumping, while the others moved as well. The 5 sacred beasts shared a look. The two sides clashed, unleashing a wild shockwave. The audience only saw it as one clash, resulting in the 8 half-sovereigns spurting blood and being flung to the ground. How can this be? They were stunned. We're sovereigns, so why did you beat us? Kuanpeng spat with disdain. You call that a sovereign? More like a faker. You think it's that easy to be won? A true sovereign takes years upon years understanding their path to become the sole master of it. You all walk the sword path and are using other sovereigns' paths. They don't fit you, and you expect to use it to its full ability? Heavenly Sovereign said that as long as we have a sovereign path, we can be one. How he lied. How else did you think he could earn your undying devotion bewitched and trapped in his domain? Weren't you all the peak of the mortal domain in your time? How could you fall for such a cheap trick? Greed must have blinded you. Ha! Kuanpeng laughed at them, and they were left utterly confused. Another boom echoed and revealed the upright Sword Child and Sword Sovereign's lone arm bleeding. Sword Sovereign smiled. You won. You are now the Sword Sovereign. No, you let me win. Sword Child looked confused. Why? You could have beaten me if you went all out. Sword Sovereign looked at Cao. Sword Heart. A cold voice echoed and a golden eye appeared in the sky. You still chose the human path. Kuanpeng fell back in shock. Heavenly Sovereign? Heavenly Sovereign. I owed it to Cao from then. I didn't betray you. A loss to the human sword path I understood before. I just knew your sword path wasn't a pure heavenly sword, or else he couldn't have controlled your sovereign path all those years ago. That's why I didn't let you guide this garbage, even with your almighty sword path. I made the right choice. Garbage. The half-sovereign shouted, Heavenly Sovereign, is that all we amount to you? What else are you? Though you've done well, compared to bugs. Now you can't help me, and the paths you have are a waste. I'll be taking those back. They shuddered, and the 8 got flung into the sky, making them cry out as they vanished in the eye. Sword Sovereign was dragged as well. Cao reached him in time, holding his hand. Tai Jianxin, tell me the truth. What do you mean by returning the favor? I am Heavenly Sovereign's heavenly sword. I can never betray him. All I could ever do was pass my path. It's up to heaven if he can combine the 10 paths. He sent a sword energy from his finger and pushed CAO back. Sword Sovereign was absorbed in the huge eye as he smiled. Brother CAO, goodbye. I hope you won't be destroyed with the world. Tai Jianxin. CAO roared, his eyes shaking. Sword Sovereign was swallowed with his path. Whoosh! Mirror Moon Cottage erupted, and a white figure flew out and stepped on a mountain. He looked down on them all with disdain. Beasts, you've caused enough havoc. Now you'll deal with me. The Steward Demonic Emperor, that you're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.